Most people think greatness is something you're born with, a gift, luck, talent. Kobe Bryant didn't believe that. He believed the most important decision you will ever make in your life is deciding what you are willing to suffer for. Because basketball doesn't care about your feelings. The league doesn't care about your excuses. And life doesn't care how much potential you think you have. At some point, you have to decide, are you just in love with the idea of being great? Or are you committed to doing the work when no one is watching? Kobe made that decision early. Not when the cameras were on, not when the crowd was loud, but when the gym was empty, when the lights were dim, when nobody would ever know he was there. That's where greatness actually begins. You see, life is going to throw curveballs at you. Bad games, injuries, doubt, criticism, failure. Kobe didn't run from that. He leaned into it. Because he understood something most people never do. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is optional. You can suffer because you're disciplined, or you can suffer because you regret what you didn't do. Either way, the pain is coming. So Kobe chose his pain. He chose early mornings, late nights, repetition, loneliness, accountability. While others were sleeping, he was studying film. While others were relaxing, he was refining footwork. While others were talking, he was working. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. Kobe wasn't motivated every day. He didn't wake up feeling inspired. He didn't rely on hype. He didn't need someone to tell him he was special. He relied on standards. Because motivation fades, emotion lies. But standards don't negotiate. If it was raining, he trained. If he was tired, he trained. If he was injured, he adjusted and still trained. Not because it felt good, but because it mattered. You see, you don't accidentally become relentless. You build it, one choice at a time. Most people look for confidence before they work. Kobe worked until confidence had no choice but to show up. Most people wait to feel ready. Kobe prepared until readiness was irrelevant. And this is where the separation happens. Because everyone loves the results, the trophies, the highlights, the legacy. But very few people love the process that creates them. Kobe loved the process. He loved the repetition. He loved the boredom. He loved doing the same move 1,000 times until it became automatic. It's because he understood this simple truth. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits don't care who you say you want to be. They only reflect who you choose to be every day. So ask yourself honestly, are your habits matching your goals? Are your mornings building your future or protecting your comfort? Because Kobe knew something else too. Success is not convenient. Greatness is not comfortable. And excellence does not wait for permission. It demands commitment. Not once, not sometimes. Every single day. This wasn't about basketball anymore. Basketball was just the arena. This was about identity. About becoming the type of person who doesn't flinch under pressure. Who doesn't fold when things get hard. Who doesn't need validation to keep going. John, that mindset didn't just change Kobe Bryant. It changed basketball forever. Kobe Bryant understood something most people avoid. Talent doesn't separate you. Mindset does. At the highest level, everyone is skilled. Everyone works hard. Everyone wants it. So the question becomes, who can stay disciplined when it stops being fun? That's where Kobe pulled away. He didn't look at excuses as obstacles. He looked at them as decisions. Every excuse was a choice to stay average. Every adjustment was a step toward greatness. He never said, "I'm not feeling it today." He asked, "What needs to be done?" That's a completely different way of living, because most people negotiate with themselves. They bargain, they delay, they soften the standard. Kobe didn't negotiate. If practice started at 6, he was there before 5. Not to show off, not to be seen, but to remove doubt. He believed confidence comes from knowing you prepared when others didn't, and preparation is quiet. It's lonely, it doesn't get applause, but it compounds. Day after day, week after week, year after year. That's the part people underestimate. They want transformation without repetition, results without routine, confidence without proof. Kobe wanted proof. That's why he obsessed over details. Foot placement, angles, timing, balance. Because when pressure hits, you don't rise. You revert. You revert to what you've rehearsed. You revert to your habits. You revert to your standard. And Kobe's standard was ruthless. Not toward others, toward himself. He didn't compare himself to other players. Comparison weakens focus. He compared himself to who he was yesterday. Was I sharper? Was I more disciplined? Was I more intentional? If the answer was no, he corrected it immediately. No drama, no self-pity, just adjustment. And that's a lesson far bigger than basketball, because life doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. It doesn't care how badly you want it. It cares how consistently you show up. Kobe showed up on the days no one talks about, the days without games, without cameras, without motivation. Those days are invisible to the world, but they build legends. And here's the part most people miss about the Mamba mentality. It wasn't about being intense all the time. It was about being honest all the time. Honest about weaknesses. Honest about effort. Honest about sacrifice. If something was holding him back, he attacked it. Not tomorrow. Not next season. Now. Because comfort is the enemy of growth, and complacency is how potential dies quietly. Kobe refused to let that happen. He didn't chase balance, he chased mastery. Balance comes later. Mastery demands obsession first. That obsession wasn't arrogance, it was respect. For the game, for the craft, for the opportunity. Because he knew something else. Careers end. Bodies break down. Applause fades. But legacy is built in what you refuse to compromise. And Kobe refused to compromise effort, focus, preparation, standards. That's why when the moment came, the shot, the pressure, the expectation, he didn't hope. He knew. Because he had already been there 1,000 times in empty gyms, in silence, in sweat. That's the mindset that separates the 1%. Kobe Bryant was never confused about the price of greatness. He didn't romanticize it. He didn't pretend it was easy. And he definitely didn't pretend you could have everything at the same time. He understood something most people avoid. Greatness demands obsession before it allows balance. That word, obsession, makes people uncomfortable. They hear it and think unhealthy, extreme, too much. But Kobe saw it differently. To him, obsession wasn't chaos, it was clarity. It meant knowing exactly what mattered and cutting everything else away. While others were chasing approval, he chased improvement. While others wanted to be liked, he wanted to be respected. While others protected their image, he protected the work. Because here's the truth. You cannot be great at something you treat casually. You can be good. You can be decent. You can be talented. But you cannot be legendary. Kobe sacrificed sleep. He sacrificed comfort. He sacrificed social life. Not because he hated those things, but because he loved the game more. And this is where most people quit mentally. They want the outcome without the isolation, the reward without the sacrifice, the praise without the pressure. But Kobe accepted the loneliness. He knew the path to the top is quiet. It's misunderstood, and often criticized. People called him selfish, difficult, too intense. He heard all of it. But instead of defending himself, he doubled down. Because criticism doesn't define you, your response to it does. When he missed shots, he studied more. When he failed, he refined. When he lost, he adjusted. He didn't internalize doubt, he used it. And here's the part that separates champions from everyone else. Kobe didn't need belief from the outside. He didn't need fans to understand him. He didn't need the media to support him. He didn't need validation to stay disciplined. His belief system was internal, built from hours no one saw, from work no one applauded, from standards no one enforced but him. That's dangerous in the best way. Because when belief comes from within, pressure loses its power, fear loses its grip. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I don't try?" Kobe wasn't fearless. He was committed. Committed enough to accept failure as tuition. Committed enough to be uncomfortable. Committed enough to outwork his doubts. And doubts came. Often. Injuries. Losses. Aching body. A changing league. But he never asked for sympathy. He asked, "What's next?" That's the mindset shift. Not why me, but what now? Because setbacks don't stop greatness. Hesitation does. Kobe understood that every season, every phase of life demands evolution. When athleticism faded, skill sharpened. When speed declined, intelligence rose. When youth disappeared, wisdom took over. He adapted, without ego. That's another lesson people miss. Obsession without humility destroys you. Obsession with self-awareness elevates you. Kobe studied younger players. He studied opponents. He studied himself. Not to protect his legacy, but to extend it. Because legacy isn't what you say. It's what you build when things change. And that's the cost of greatness. You don't get to stay who you were. You have to become who the moment requires, over and over again. That level of commitment isn't glamorous. It's demanding. It's exhausting. But it's honest. And honesty is what separates those who dream from those who endure. Kobe Bryant knew something most athletes realize too late. Basketball was never the destination. It was the training ground, the discipline, the obsession, the sacrifice. That was the real lesson. Because when the crowd goes quiet, when the jerseys come off, when the lights turn off, who are you then? Kobe prepared for that question long before retirement. He didn't see leadership as talking louder. He saw it as setting a standard so high that others are forced to rise or walk away. That made people uncomfortable, but real leadership always does. He demanded focus. He demanded effort. He demanded honesty. Not because he wanted control, but because he respected potential too much to waste it. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone wants to be led to greatness. Some people prefer comfort. Some people prefer excuses. Some people prefer being told they're good enough. Kobe never did that. He didn't lower the bar to keep people around. He raised it and let commitment decide who stayed. That's leadership. Not popularity, not approval, responsibility. And when basketball ended, that mindset didn't disappear. It transferred to storytelling, to business, to mentorship, to fatherhood. Because the Mamba mentality was never about scoring points. It was about approaching anything worth doing with total presence and intent. He attacked learning the same way he attacked training. Curiosity replaced competition. Growth replaced trophies. That's rare. Most people peak once and spend the rest of their life protecting that version of themselves. Kobe evolved. He proved that discipline isn't something you turn off. It's something you carry into how you think, how you speak, how you show up for others. And this is where his legacy truly lives. Not in the highlights, not in the rings, not even in the records, but in the mindset he left behind. A mindset that says, you are capable of more than you think, but only if you're willing to demand more from yourself than the world ever will. A mindset that refuses shortcuts, that respects the grind, that understands patience is power. Because greatness doesn't end when the game stops. It expands into how you handle pressure, how you face fear, how you respond to failure, how you live when no one is watching. That's the real question. Not do you want success, but are you willing to become the person success requires? Kobe was. Every day, in every phase, until the very end. And that's why his mindset didn't just change basketball. It changed how greatness itself is defined. Kobe Bryant never asked to be remembered. He asked to be earned through discipline, earned through focus, earned through a standard that doesn't bend when it's inconvenient. Because at the end of everything, the noise fades, the opinions disappear, the highlights stop replaying. What remains is who you became. Kobe believed greatness was a responsibility. Not a title, not a moment. A responsibility you carry every single day. To your craft, to your teammates, to yourself. And that's the part most people avoid. They want the results without the responsibility, the recognition without the preparation, the legacy without the sacrifice. But legacy doesn't start when people are watching. It starts when no one cares, when no one claps, when no one believes before you do. Kobe didn't wait for belief. He built it through repetition, through honesty, through doing the hard thing when the easy thing was available. And here's the truth you can't escape. You don't rise to Kobe's level by copying his moves. You rise by adopting his standards, by deciding that your effort has a floor, and it's high. That your excuses have an expiration date, and it's now. That your potential deserves discipline, not comfort. The Mamba mentality isn't about basketball. It's about showing up with intent. It's about demanding more of yourself than anyone else ever will. It's about refusing to let fear, fatigue, or doubt decide your future. Because one day, you'll look back, and you won't ask how talented you were. You'll ask how committed you were. Did you hold the line when it got hard? Did you stay disciplined when motivation disappeared? Did you become who you said you wanted to be? That's the real scoreboard. Kobe left us a standard, not to admire, not to quote, but to live. So the question isn't what would Kobe do? The question is, what are you willing to demand of yourself starting today? Because greatness isn't inherited, it's practiced every day.